All right, so today we're looking at some pretty interesting physics. That fine structure, constant alpha.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a puzzle for physicists forever, basically. It determines how strongly light and matter interact.
Yeah.
But no one really knows why it has that specific value, about 1/137.
Yeah.
It just kind of seems like a random setting, in the universe's control panel.
Yeah.
And the sources you sent me are saying we might actually have a clue now, and it's all about geometry.
Yeah, that's right. And what's remarkable is it's not just an interesting theory. The math actually seems to add up.
Oh, wow.
The sources lay out a compelling case for how alpha emerges directly from the structure of the universe. The geometric structure itself, it's a huge milestone.
Wow.
Potentially unlocks a deeper understanding of electromagnetism, quantum mechanics, even hinting at a unified field theory.
Okay, color me intrigued.
Meh.
I'm seeing references to the golden ratio,
Mm-hmm.
the Fibonacci sequence,
Yeah.
stuff I usually associate with art and nature,
Right.
not really the laws of physics.
Yeah. That's what makes it so fascinating, these patterns.
Yeah.
Which we see everywhere, from sunflowers to seashells,
Right.
appear to be woven into the very fabric of reality. At the quantum level, the sources suggest that alpha arises from the interference of quantum wave functions.
Okay.
But these wave functions are shaped by specific geometric constraints.
So it's kind of like these waves are bouncing around in a space that's not just empty, but has a kind of a structure to it.
Exactly.
An underlying structure, almost like a blueprint that guides how they interact.
Exactly. And the fine structure constant emerges from the specific way these waves interfere with each other within those constraints. It's kind of like realizing that the seemingly random notes in a musical piece actually follow a hidden melody based on mathematical ratios.
Okay, now my brain needs a little help catching up.
Sure.
The source material mentions a specific equation for alpha
Okay.
involving a function f of phi, comma f.
Right.
It combines the golden ratio and force parameters. Can you break that down for us? What's the magic happening in this equation?
This is where it gets really interesting. This function f of phi comma f acts as a bridge between the mathematical world of the golden ratio, which is represented by phi,
Okay.
and the physical world of forces.
Okay.
The f in the equation stands for parameters that are related to fundamental forces like electromagnetism. The equation shows how these forces are intricately linked to the underlying geometry represented by the golden ratio.
So you're saying the forces we experience in the universe aren't just random values.
Right.
They're fundamentally connected to these geometric patterns. It's like the universe is playing by a specific set of rules.
Exactly.
And we're finally starting to understand the game.
Precisely. And that has profound implications. It suggests that what we perceive as separate forces, gravity, electromagnetism, the weak and strong nuclear forces, might actually be different expressions of a single unified force. Stemming from the geometry of space-time itself, this could be a significant step towards a unified field theory, something physicists have been chasing for centuries.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But if everything is tied to this underlying geometry, does that mean we can predict how everything in the universe will behave? Are we talking about a theory of everything here?
It's not quite that simple.
Right.
Well, while this new understanding of alpha is a monumental step,
Right.
there's still much we don't know.
Yeah.
But it gives us a powerful new framework for understanding the interconnectedness of the universe. And it opens up really exciting possibilities for future research. Imagine being able to predict the strength of forces or the behavior of particles based purely on geometric principles.
That's mind-boggling. And I'm also seeing in the sources that this new perspective also has implications for one of the most mind-bending concepts in physics, superposition.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about that?
Superposition is the idea that a quantum particle can exist in multiple states at once until it's measured. This new understanding of alpha, with its roots in the geometry of space-time, suggests that this multi-state existence isn't just a weird quantum quirk.
Yeah.
It might actually be a fundamental feature of reality itself, a consequence of how these geometric principles shape the wave functions of particles.
So it's like the universe is constantly exploring multiple possibilities simultaneously. And the act of measurement forces it to choose one specific outcome.
That's right.
Almost like the universe is playing a cosmic game of choose your own adventure. And we're just along for the ride.
That's a very poetic way to put it, and it highlights the profound shift in thinking this new perspective offers.
Yeah.
It's not just that particles have wave-like properties, it's that the very fabric of reality might be built from a superposition of geometric possibilities.
Okay, I'm officially hooked. This is some next-level physics. So if alpha is determined by geometry, and geometry seems to underlie so much of what we're talking about,
Right.
does that mean there's some kind of universal blueprint that governs everything in the cosmos?
That's one of the most tantalizing questions this new understanding raises.
Yeah.
If we can crack the code of this blueprint, it could unlock incredible insights into the nature of reality itself.
So we're not just talking about understanding alpha. We're talking about potentially understanding the universe.
Yeah.
At its most fundamental level, it's like discovering the source code of reality.
Exactly. And the sources dive even deeper into the implications, exploring how this new understanding could impact our view of everything,
Wow.
from the evolution of the universe to the nature of consciousness itself.
Okay, we need to take a breath here. This is a lot to unpack.
Sure.
But before we jump into those really mind-bending implications,
Yeah.
let's make sure we fully grasp this new perspective on the fine structure constant.
Yeah.
You mentioned that the math checks out. What specifically makes this theory so compelling?
Well, for one, it elegantly explains why alpha has the specific value it does for decades. That was a complete mystery.
Right.
Now we see it emerging naturally from the interplay of geometry and fundamental forces, but it goes beyond just explaining alpha.
So it's not just about explaining one number, but about revealing a deeper structure that governs the universe.
Precisely. And that structure is reflected in the mathematics.
Hmm.
The equations presented in the source material not only accurately predict the value of alpha, but they also show how it's connected to other fundamental constants in physics.
Oh, wow.
Like the speed of light and Planck's constant. It's like finding the missing piece of a puzzle that suddenly makes the whole picture clear.
That's amazing. And I'm seeing in the sources that this new framework also makes specific predictions that can be tested experimentally.
Right.
So it's not just a beautiful theory. It's potentially a testable scientific breakthrough.
Absolutely. The sources outline several experiments that could confirm or refute this model.
Okay.
They suggest looking for tiny shifts in spectral lines during electron-photon interactions, as well as analyzing quantum interference patterns for evidence of this geometric influence. These experiments could provide definitive proof that this geometric interpretation of alpha isn't just a mathematical curiosity, but a true reflection of reality.
Wow, this is really getting exciting. We're talking about a potential paradigm shift in physics.
Yeah.
A whole new way of understanding the universe and our place within it.
And it all starts with this seemingly insignificant number, alpha. Who knew that a constant that had puzzled physicists for so long could hold the key to unlocking such profound mysteries?
This is definitely one of those deep dives that leaves you with more questions than answers.
Sure.
But in the best possible way, I'm eager to dive into the implications of this new understanding.
Okay.
But before we do, I want to hear more about those experiments you mentioned.
Uh-huh.
What specific evidence could we find to support this geometric interpretation of alpha?
Well, one of the key predictions of this model is that the value of alpha might not be completely constant. Remember, the equation involves force parameters.
Right.
And the strength of those forces can vary slightly depending on the energy scale and the presence of other fields.
So you're saying alpha might actually fluctuate, even if those fluctuations are incredibly tiny.
Exactly. And these tiny fluctuations would leave a unique signature
Oh.
in certain physical processes. For example, if we look at the spectral lines of atoms with extreme precision,
Yeah.
we might be able to detect subtle shifts in those lines that
Okay.
would point to variations in alpha.
That's fascinating. So by looking at something as seemingly mundane as the light emitted by atoms,
Yeah.
we could potentially find evidence for this profound shift in our understanding of the universe.
Precisely. The universe often whispers its secrets in the most unexpected places. And in this case, those whispers might be hidden within the subtle dance of light and matter.
This is going to be really fired up.
Right.
What other experimental signatures should we be looking for?
Another key prediction is that the geometric influence on wave functions would manifest in specific quantum interference patterns. If we can design experiments sensitive enough to detect these subtle patterns, it would provide strong evidence for the geometric underpinnings of alpha and the universe itself.
So we're not just talking about observing existing phenomena. We're talking about designing new experiments, pushing the boundaries of our technological capabilities to probe the very fabric of reality. This is truly cutting-edge science.
Absolutely, and it highlights the dynamic nature of scientific progress. New theories often lead to new experiments, and those experiments in turn can either confirm or refine our theories, leading to an even deeper understanding of the universe.
Okay, I'm ready to explore those deeper implications. Now we've laid the groundwork for this new perspective on the fine structure constant, and I'm eager to see where it leads us next.
Then let's dive in. The source material explores some truly mind-blowing possibilities, suggesting that this new understanding of alpha could have profound implications for our understanding of the universe's evolution, the nature of dark energy, and even the emergence of consciousness itself. One of the most intriguing implications explored in the sources is how this geometric understanding of alpha could impact our view of the universe's evolution. They suggest a fascinating concept that the universe might not be expanding linearly, but rather going through cycles of expansion and contraction, driven by what they call entropy as imbalance.
Okay, you're going to have to break that down for me. Entropy is imbalance. That sounds pretty intense.
Yeah.
What does that even mean in the context of the universe's evolution?
Well, think about entropy in its traditional sense as a measure of disorder or randomness.
Right.
We usually think of entropy as constantly increasing, leading to a more chaotic universe. But these sources propose a different perspective. They suggest that entropy, as it increases, creates an imbalance in the fundamental forces, eventually reaching a critical point that leads to a collapse, a kind of reset of the universe.
So it's not just about the universe getting more disordered. It's about this disorder reaching a point where it actually triggers a fundamental change in the fabric of reality.
Exactly. And this change is driven by what they call magneto-electric universal balance.
Okay.
The sources suggest that the universe strives to maintain a balance between electric and magnetic forces. But as entropy increases, this balance is disrupted, leading to instability and eventually a collapse that resets the system.
So it's like the universe is constantly building up tension, like a rubber band being stretched further and further until it finally snaps back to a more balanced state. And the snapping back is what triggers a new cycle of expansion.
That's a great analogy. And what's fascinating is that this collapse isn't seen as an ending, but rather as a new beginning. The sources propose a model of a cold universe singularity where everything collapses into a state of pure potential ready to spark a new cycle of expansion.
It's like the phoenix rising from the ashes. But on a cosmic scale, and you said this new cycle might be driven by the release of information.
Yes, that's where it gets really mind-bending.
Okay.
The source material proposes that information is not just something we create and transmit. It's actually a fundamental aspect of reality, woven into the fabric of the universe.
Wow.
Encoded in the interactions of these geometrically influenced wave functions.
Okay, hold on. I need to process this. We're not talking about information in the sense of like data stored on a computer.
No.
We're talking about information as a fundamental property of the universe.
Exactly.
Matter and energy.
Precisely. Think of it this way. Every interaction between particles, every fluctuation in a quantum field, every ripple in space-time, it all carries information. And according to these sources, this information isn't lost. Even when the universe collapses. It's preserved, compressed, and carried over into the next cycle, contributing to the increasing complexity of the universe.
So it's like the universe is constantly learning, growing, evolving, with each cycle building upon the information it has gathered in previous cycles.
That's a fascinating way to think about it.
Yeah.
And it raises profound questions about the nature of time and causality. If information is preserved across these cosmic cycles, does that mean the future can influence the past?
Wow.
Does it blur the lines between cause and effect?
Okay, now my brain is officially doing backflips. And speaking of mind-bending concepts, we can't talk about a universe governed by information without addressing the elephant in the room, consciousness. Where does consciousness fit into this grand cosmic scheme?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And while the source material doesn't provide definitive answers, it offers some really intriguing perspectives. They suggest that consciousness might emerge from these complex wave function interactions, particularly in systems with high levels of information density and complexity.
So it's like consciousness is a product of the universe's evolution, a manifestation of its growing complexity and self-awareness. Almost like the universe is waking up to itself through these increasingly intricate information networks.
That's a beautiful and profound way to put it.
Yeah.
And it's certainly a possibility that these sources encourage us to consider. They suggest that we might be more interconnected with the universe than we ever imagined. Not just physically, but also through this shared web of information and consciousness.
Wow. This is really shifting my whole perspective on what it means to be human,
Yeah.
to be a part of this vast interconnected cosmos.
Hmm.
It's both exhilarating and a little bit terrifying.
I understand.
But if the universe is constantly evolving, becoming more complex with each cycle, what does that mean for the future?
Right.
What might the next cycle hold?
The source material speculates that the next cycle might involve an even greater increase in
Yeah.
dimensional complexity. They suggest that we might be on the cusp of a transition to a higher dimensional start of existence.
Wait, higher dimensions? Like more than the 3 spatial dimensions we experience?
Yeah.
Are we talking about venturing into the realm of science fiction here?
It might sound like science fiction, but the idea of higher dimensions has been explored in theoretical physics for decades.
Yay.
And the source material suggests that these higher dimensions might not be so out of reach.
Okay.
They propose that the universe is constantly unfolding into new dimensions, and that the next cycle might bring about a dramatic shift
Wow.
in our perception of reality.
Okay, now my brain is officially doing backflips, higher dimensions information as a fundamental force consciousness emerging from wave interactions.
Yeah.
This is a lot to process.
I know it's a lot to take in.
But I have to ask, if these higher dimensions exist, why don't we experience them? Are they hidden somehow?
That's a great question. The source material suggests that these higher dimensions might be curled up or compactified at scales too small for us to perceive directly. Think of it like a garden hose.
Okay.
From a distance, it looks like a one-dimensional line.
Right.
But up close, you can see that it has a two-dimensional surface.
Yeah.
Similarly, our three-dimensional space might be embedded within higher dimensions that are simply too small for us to see.
So it's like we're living in a 3-dimensional projection of a much higher dimensional reality. And the next cosmic cycle might somehow unfold these hidden dimensions, allowing us to experience reality in a completely new way.
That's one possibility that these sources explore. They suggest that the collapse and rebirth of the universe might be accompanied by a kind of dimensional shift,
Right.
revealing aspects of reality that were previously hidden from our perception.
This is seriously mind-blowing. It's like the universe is constantly revealing new layers of itself, like a cosmic onion with infinite layers of complexity.
Yeah, it's a fascinating concept.
But with all this talk of cosmic cycles and dimensional shifts, it's easy to feel a bit overwhelmed. What does all of this mean for us, for humanity, in a practical sense?
That's a crucial question. The source material reminds us that even though these concepts might seem abstract and far removed from our everyday lives, they have profound implications for how we understand ourselves and our place in the cosmos.
Right.
If the universe is a self-organizing system driven by information, and we are a part of that system, then we have a responsibility to understand and participate in this grand cosmic dance.
So it's not just about passively observing the universe, it's about actively engaging with it, learning from it, and contributing to its evolution.
Exactly. And that engagement can take many forms.
Oh.
It can be through scientific exploration, artistic expression, or simply living our lives with awareness and intention, recognizing our interconnectedness with the cosmos.
This is a powerful message and has definitely given me a lot to think about. But before we get too philosophical, there's one more aspect of the source material I want to explore. They delve into some really intriguing ideas about how this new understanding of the universe could impact technology.
Yes, that's one of the most exciting aspects of this whole thing. The sources suggest that if we can crack the code of this geometric blueprint that underlies reality, it could unlock incredible technological advancements. Imagine being able to manipulate energy and matter at a fundamental level.
Wow.
Harnessing the power of these geometric principles to create new forms of energy, develop advanced quantum computing technologies, even travel between dimensions.
Okay, now you're talking my language. This is the kind of stuff that gets me really excited.
Yeah.
But how do we go from these abstract theories to actual tangible technologies?
Right.
What kind of research needs to be done to make this a reality?
That's where the real work begins. The source material outlines several avenues for future research,
Okay.
focusing on understanding how these geometric principles manifest in specific physical phenomena. They suggest exploring new materials with unique quantum properties, developing new experimental techniques to probe the behavior of particles at extremely high energies, and pushing the boundaries of quantum computing to simulate and manipulate these complex wave function interactions.
So it's a combination of theoretical and experimental work, pushing the boundaries of both our understanding of the universe and our technological capabilities.
Precisely. And it's a journey that will require collaboration between physicists, mathematicians, engineers, and computer scientists.
Wow.
It's a true interdisciplinary effort, a testament to the power of human ingenuity and our insatiable desire to understand the universe and our place within it.
This is definitely a deep dive that's left me with more questions than answers.
Yeah.
But in the best possible way, it sparked a fire of curiosity and a sense of wonder that I know will stay with me for a long time. But before we wrap things up,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear your final thoughts on what all of this means for humanity, for the future of our species, and for our understanding of the universe.
It's truly humbling, to consider that we might be on the verge of a scientific revolution, one that could completely reshape our understanding of the universe and our place in it. This new perspective, with its emphasis on geometry and information as like these fundamental aspects of reality, opens up a whole new world of possibilities, not just for science and technology, but also for, philosophy, art, even spirituality.
Yeah, it's like we've been given a new lens to view reality through, one that reveals all these hidden connections and patterns that we just couldn't see before. It makes you realize just how much we still don't know how much is left to explore.
And that's what makes it so exciting. The sources emphasize that this is really just the beginning. There's so much more we can learn, so many questions to answer, but by embracing this new perspective, by letting go of our old assumptions and embracing the unknown, we really open ourselves up to a universe of possibilities.
Okay, I got to ask, what are some of the most like mind-blowing possibilities that these sources explore? What are the potential implications of this new understanding that really get you excited?
Well, for one, they suggest that this geometric framework could lead to a deeper understanding of dark energy, that mysterious force that's accelerating the expansion of the universe. Currently, dark energy is one of the biggest enigmas in cosmology. We know it's there, but we have no idea what it is or where it comes from.
So you're saying this new understanding of the universe as like a self-organizing system driven by information could give us insights into the nature of dark energy.
Exactly. The sources propose that dark energy might not be a separate force, but rather an emergent property of the universe's underlying geometry. Imagine space-time itself having a kind of inherent springiness or elasticity that drives its expansion. This elasticity could be related to the density of information in the universe, with higher information density leading to a stronger expansion force.
That's a fascinating idea. So dark energy might not be some mysterious substance or force, but rather a natural consequence of the way information shapes the fabric of reality.
Precisely, and it's a beautiful example of how this new perspective can offer elegant solutions to some of the most perplexing mysteries in science. But it goes beyond just explaining things we already know about the sources, also explore the potential for using these geometric principles to develop incredible new technologies.
Now you're talking my language. Give me some examples. What kind of technologies could we unlock by tapping into this geometric blueprint of reality?
Imagine being able to manipulate energy and matter at the most fundamental level, creating new forms of energy that are clean, abundant, and sustainable. Think of devices that can tap into the zero-point energy of the vacuum, essentially extracting energy from the fabric of space-time itself.
Okay, now that's seriously mind-blowing. It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, but you're saying it could actually be possible if we can just figure out how this geometric blueprint works.
That's the challenge and the excitement. The sources outline several avenues for research, from exploring new materials with unique quantum properties to developing new experimental techniques to probe the behavior of particles at extremely high energies. They also suggest that advancements in quantum computing could play a crucial role in simulating and manipulating these complex wave function interactions.
So it's a multifaceted approach requiring collaboration between different fields of science and pushing the boundaries of what our technology can do. But the potential rewards seem almost limitless.
And it's not just about technological advancements. The sources also emphasize the philosophical and spiritual implications of this new understanding. If the universe is indeed a self-organizing system driven by information, and we are integral parts of that system, then it suggests a profound interconnectedness between all things.
It's a beautiful and humbling thought. It makes you realize that we're not just isolated individuals living on a random planet in a vast and indifferent universe. We're all part of something much larger, something truly awe-inspiring.
And that realization can be incredibly empowering. If we are truly connected to the universe at such a fundamental level, then it means we have the potential to understand and influence its evolution in ways we haven't even begun to imagine.
This has been one of the most mind-expanding deep dives we've ever done. It's challenged our assumptions, sparked our imaginations, and left us with a sense of awe and wonder at the sheer complexity and beauty of the universe.
And as we conclude this exploration, I'd like to leave our listeners with one final thought. The universe is a vast and mysterious place full of wonders yet to be discovered. But the most important tool we have for exploring this universe is not a telescope or a particle accelerator, but our own curiosity, our own sense of wonder. Never lose that spark. Never stop asking questions. For it is in the asking that we find the answers, and in the seeking that we discover ourselves.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive, but the exploration doesn't end here. Keep those minds curious, keep those questions coming, and join us next time as we delve into another fascinating corner of the universe.